Hello my friends, I hope you're all doing well. This is 8 Notes and the year 2024 just came to a close. Stats came in from Muso.ai showing us how we performed, the numbers and the streams, everything, the views were looking great. I decided to make a list and show you everything that helped me make my mixes in 2024. These are tools that will likely take me through 2025 as well without any hassle. Without wasting any of your time, let's get straight into it. The first and most important thing on this list would be my laptop. I've got a 2021 M1 Pro MacBook Pro, 16 inches, 1 terabyte of storage and 16 gigabytes of RAM. I had this about 2 years ago and it's still going strong till the end of 2024. I believe I'll still use it in 2025 without any hassle. The new MacBook Pros are out now with the M4 Pro, the M4 Max. I'm liking the specifications. I'm seeing all the reviews online. I would like to get that, but then they cost a fortune. Let's just see how the year goes. If 2025 goes really well, we just might be upgrading to the M4 Pro models. But for right now, the M1 Pro still does everything that I needed to do when it comes to mixing and mastering. It renders all of the projects properly and timely. I don't have lags. I load up to 80, 150 tracks when I'm mixing. I don't really have hiccups like that. As long as you don't overload your MacBook Pros, I think they're pretty powerful laptops, and it's a giant leap from the Intel processors. If you're coming into music in 2025, even if you lay your hands on an M1 Pro or the base model M1, it's a good place to start. Next on the list is my audio interface. I've got the Audien ID24 that I bought last year. It's still going strong. I don't have a lot to say about this audio interface other than this is a great audio interface. I like the way that the converted sound, the analog to digital and even the digital to analog. It sounds really good to me. The specifications on paper as well are very good. If you compare it to its competition, you see this is a very great choice to make in 2024, moving to 2025. The hardware is very tactile and it's linked to a software as well, the ID software, where you can turn up volume up and down, change the routing and all of these things. If you're not in close proximity to your audio interface, you can just use the software. It's a pro for some, it's a con for some, but for me, it's a pro. And for my monitoring device connected directly to my Audien ID24 is my Adam Audio A7X. I've got a pair of these and I've had them for only a year. I love them so far. I listened to the Adam Audio the first time in the studio and I really like the way it sounds. I know the thing with monitor speakers is the way they sound are solely or heavily dependent on what type of room and if the room is treated or not and the sound of the room. But for my small setup, I had an IK Multimedia iLoud MTMs before I had these ones. They were great for the small space, but I felt like the sound was a little too DSP driven as compared to the acoustics that the A7Xs could give me. So when I switched to the A7Xs, I was pretty happy with it. And still on the topic of monitoring devices, I'm not a very speaker type person. I make most of my mixes on headphones and then I reference them on monitor speakers and other media around the house. So the pair of headphones that I have used the most in 2024, moving to 2025, has been my wired Apple EarPods. These are wired earphones from Apple that have been around for a very long time. At least 5 or 6 years on the market. There's been multiple iterations of it, but for me, I find this to be very natural sounding. I understand what it sounds like. I've listened to music on these things for many years, so I understand them. It's not the best in the world to everyone, but to me, it's the best in the world. And I only say that because the thing with headphones is you gotta understand the headphone that you use and get used to it. There is no best headphone, it's all subjective and it varies. You just need to get used to the headphone that you use and you can make great mixes on it. And the next headphone on the list is my Beyerdynamic DT990 Pro. These are the next headphones that I can rely on every time. I know if I don't have my Apple EarPods with me and I take this with me, I'll have great monitoring and I will know exactly that what I'm listening to, I can trust it. The low end is not too boomy, the top end is a little bright, but I understand it. They're open back headphones and they're 250 ohms, so you need to drive it with a headphone amp. But in my case, my laptop drives them loud enough, and also my audio interface, the ID24, they drive this headphone perfectly. I don't need an external or extra headphone amp. Also on the topic of headphones, this is my Sennheiser HD650. When I've made my mixes off of the Apple earpods and confirm them on the biodynamics, I come to the Sennheiser HD650 to make sure they sound good here as well. And when it sounds good on all three headphones, I am very happy with the result. I can then go ahead and play it back on my monitors, as I said earlier, to make sure everything sounds good. And I rarely take this headphone in my bag if I'm leaving the house, but it's always in my studio. And if I'm mixing from my studio, I have to confirm every mix with this headphone before I send it out. I like the way the mid-range responds. It's very mid-range heavy from my experience, and I would highly recommend this. If you cannot get the DT990 and you have only this one, you'll still be doing great. The next on the list is my Apple AirPod Pro. So I've got the Apple AirPod Pro 2nd generation. The 2nd generation of AirPod Pros do sound a little better than the 1st generation, but regardless, even if you have the 1st generation Apple AirPods, you could still use it and listen to music for long enough until you're used to the way it sounds and you can judge mixes on it. This, I don't use it to mix, I only use it to listen to the mix after I'm done, after I'm happy with everything I've done on my headphones and my monitors. I send it to my iPhone and I listen on AirPods. If I listen on AirPods and it sounds great on here, I compare it to other songs on Apple Music and Spotify. If it sounds great on AirPods, then it's going to sound great to the consumers, because most of the time when the mixes come to the AirPods, they sound a little too boomy, because these AirPods are very airtight and soundproof. They emphasize the low end a lot more, and if your low end is rumbly on the AirPods, you gotta go back to the mix. Last but not least on the monitoring devices list is my Marshall Willen. It's a portable player from Marshall. Marshall has been in production for many years. They're known for making guitar amps and speakers, and they make this little speaker here. It's Bluetooth powered. It sounds great for its size. It's mid-range heavy again. You can hear vocals here if they're properly placed. If your vocals are too loud, the Willen will help you hear that. And if your vocals are too bright as well, you hear it piercing through like crazy on here. So every mix, when it gets to my iPhone, right after the AirPod test, it's gonna go through the Willen test. And when it passes the Willen test, that's it. We're Gucci. On the topic of storage devices, I use a Crucial X9 Pro 4 terabytes. So I think it's a better habit or practice to save your projects on an external SSD, because if you put them on your MacBook and something happens to your MacBook, it's all gone. The new MacBooks have their SSDs soldered on board. The chances of you recovering your data are very slim to none, except you have a ton load of cash to give to Apple to recover your data for you or pay a third party. It's just safer practice to put your project on an SSD, and that's what I do. So if I take my laptop and my SSD, I know I can work from anywhere as long as I have my headphones with me. The Crucial X9 Pro was the best that I could find. I had experiences with SanDisk, the 2 terabyte version and the 4 terabyte version. For some reason, they kept failing on me. I don't know if it happens to everyone. If it's happened to you before, let me know. If I'm just the only one, still let me know in the comments. Crucial also makes the X10 Pro, but from my research, I realized the X10 Pro uses a certain infrastructure that the MacBook Pro from 2021 do not support. So it just makes more sense buying the X9 Pro, as I cannot use those speeds that the X10 Pro supports. The X9 Pro is just the perfect fit for me, and it's exactly what I need. And furthermore, on productivity, I rely on a keyboard and a mouse if I'm mixing from home. My keyboard of choice is the Logitech MX Keys S, and my mouse of choice is the MX Master 3S. If you ask me, this is the best combo for productivity. I mean, some people like mechanical keyboards, but from my experience, the mechanical keyboards, they get tiring after a while. I can't really use them to mix for hours. If I'm mixing at night, it just goes clickety clack. And yeah, no, everyone's different, but for me, I think this mouse is the best mouse for productivity. If you're a mix engineer and you can map all of the different buttons to different functions around your DAW. For me on Logic Pro, I have mapped the big button on the thumb to be space bar. So when I press that, the song starts playing, and the scroll wheel acts as a scroll through my timeline, while the side buttons can skip the track forward and backwards. I really love this mouse. I put it in my backpack sometimes, but if I don't have it, I'll just work with the trackpad. If I have this mouse, I feel a lot faster. I execute things quicker. and more effectively. And all these things that I have mentioned, they all go into the Peak Design Everyday Backpack 30-liter version in black. If I am leaving the house and going anywhere, I put all of my mixing equipment in this backpack, and it's got good weather sealing. It's solid as a rock. It has a sleeve for a laptop and extra storage for extra things. I'll make a separate video of this on my tech channel to review this backpack. I've had it for a year and I absolutely love it. It's one of the things that I spent money on that I do not regret. The Peak Design Everyday Backpack 30-liter V2. Yeah, that will be it for now. Thank you very much for stopping by. Next time I'll make a software version, but for now this was just all hardware. If you like videos like this, click the like button and subscribe. I'll make videos like this all through 2025 and I hope to see you around. Cheers.